What's going on, gamers? We got some interesting news here by Greg Miller, and it kind of fills in a void that we were all having because there were some doubts about the big shakeup at Microsoft. And I kind of said the same thing. Definitely when you look at retirement windows, and we're going to talk about that in a second. So, Greg Miller here says Phil Spencer's retirement was not planned. It's like, wait, what? Right? And it's like, oh, no, that actually makes sense. Just like we thought the whole thing was kind of off, right? And he says, I've been past something that again reiterates to me, I'm not going to read it. This was not planned. And it's like, ooh. The fact that he came out and said that too is cool because I know Greg Miller used to have a huge relationship with Phil Spencer and Xbox. I don't know if you guys remember, IGN used to be promoted with Jessica on Xbox back then. It was a thing that you even had on the dashboard that you can do. It was kind of like ahead of its time, and it was something that was actually pretty cool. So they definitely have an emotional bond. And Greg saying that is obviously not happy about it, and he's coming up and saying something, but he's obviously not going to expose the intel. But him saying this is not a fluke, you know what I mean? It's like, no, he's not just saying that just to say it. It's like, no, 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 we're going to read it. It's only 21 seconds, but then we got some comments to talk about here. But I'm going to say what I have to say after we listen to this real quick. Hear this out.
Was not planned. I don't think this was. I've been past, again, back to me. This is the newsroom. We're getting phone calls. People are moving up. I've been past something that, again, reiterates to me. I'm not going to read it, but like reiterates of like, oh, no, this was not planned. No,
yeah,
100%. Well, man, people are still debating in the. I'm
That's
saying,
crazy.
Chad, if you trust us, what I'm seeing, I'm saying this was not planned. Was not planned.
Did you read that? So he says, if you trust us, like, no, I'm telling you, this was not planned. Here's my thing. If you look at all the other CEOs in the industries, presidents, whatever, right? When they get ready to retire, they usually have a window. If you look at Reggie's window, it's like months, right? Doug Bowser, months, right? Think about that. And any other CEOs and any other companies that step down and leave, they have some time to prepare to leave and they get things going. Phil Spencer's leave is a telltale where it's like, that's way too fast. You don't have that much time to get out. So it was almost like there's somebody trying to make sure that this happens fast so that they can get in what they want to get. And that's Satya. Remember, I've been telling y'all last year, he's running the show. This is him doing all this. Now people are starting to realize what I've been telling you. When they're like, oh, no, Xbox is doing this. Phil Spencer's like, no, Phil Spencer hasn't been doing nothing like you thought for a while. As a matter of fact, he's been trying to fight to get Xbox where he wanted it. Now you're kind of seeing that. That's why I said he's the scapegoat. Don't be naive and fall for that. No, what he doesn't want, he didn't want the AI push. He didn't want the Magnus to be something like a PC with over $1,000. Still wanted to go with the console route. You know what I mean? He wanted a little bit, not a little bit. He wanted things to be a lot different. And of course, he's made his mistakes. Everybody does it in the industry. And I'm telling you, if you would have replaced him and put somebody else on that crazy train, it wouldn't have went down the route that you thought it would have. You think that, but I'm telling you, he was the one for that job. It's just everybody else was. I mean, they're not gamers. I see dumb posts with that too, but it's like, trust me, you need that. Otherwise, what are you going to do? How are you going to build with people in Japan and this? You're not going to know what to do. You're going to be lost. And you're going to be relying on somebody who was there before you that you blame. It's like, just stop. That stuff matters. And obviously, yeah, people can still be gamers and make mistakes. That's cool, but you still need that. Like, I've seen people say dumb stuff, and it's like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. So going down, 50 Plus Gamer says, as a CEO myself, you don't announce your retirement effective in 3 days. That's what I'm saying. He was fired, and it's marketing spin to make it seem less volatile. Yeah, we see this a lot too with the new CEO. Nothing against her. I think she's a nice person, most likely. But when it comes to Microsoft, it's about sharks, AI, suits, data centers. And you guys know what I mean. People getting into positions that is like, you're not really a gamer. How did you skip all the way and get to that position that deserves somebody who's been working on that for a while? And that's what happens when you have political behavior going on. It's corrupt. And let's not be dumb. It's been going on at Microsoft for a while. And now everybody's seeing it in different facets. And I try to tell people it wasn't real. It was all fake. Now you see what I'm talking about. I try to tell you that. You don't want to listen to me. You have people attacking me over dumb stuff. I'm like, man, okay. You'll see the truth of it. And then once again, here it comes again. You see? So he says, same with Sarah Bond. We all do it. And they won't be consulting with anyone. It's all a lie. Or it's all cap, he's saying. So, yeah, of course. I said before, look, everywhere that you see Phil Spencer go, Sarah Bond is, well, she has to be next to him because that's the only place she felt emotionally secure. That was her best friend, right? So if Phil's not there, she ain't gonna be there. Trust me, 100%. Because then it's just like, yeah, I feel uncomfortable. The only way she was able to go to Japan with those people is because Phil was showing her what he was doing. You see what I mean? He was the one that was helping out. Without Phil Spencer, there is no Sarah Bond, and she can't function without him in that sort of sense. It's like she needed him to be able to remain stable. So yeah, and Satya knew that too. You know, he's sitting there watching, he sees all that. And that's not the vision that he wants because they're not going to be able to push his AI data vision. How you end up grabbing somebody, because what do you want to do? The AI and data centers, who was she before that? AI, and you get her up in there in that position because that's what he wants and that's what he thinks now of the gaming industry. He doesn't really care much about Xbox. I'm going to be surprised certain things happen in the future and they just keep around on very few things. See what I mean? So now it's in control with the way he wants it. And historically, they're just not gamers. You know what I mean? You can look back a while ago, you're not a gamer. You're not really all for this. No, what you care about is what you've been pushing. You haven't been mentioned in Xbox, so this is pretty obvious. I say if you really add up those pieces, it makes sense. And James says, of course, this is not planned. He was laid off. What kind of retirement is announced Friday and he has to leave Monday? Exactly. It's not a nice, comfortable one to take your time. Pretty sure Phil and Sarah, who was holding the floodgates shut. Yeah. They talk about you buy Bethesda for billions and Starfield flops. It is a total albatross and nothing is recovered. And then they're going to talk about the Activision. Yeah, but Satya wanted that as well. He was involved in that. He met up with Bobby Kotick and he says, this is what I want to do. Yes. So you thinking that that's just Phil, once again, is naive because it's like, no. He was involved with that. What do you think Kotick was saying? I don't think you should be doing this. You don't know what you're doing in gaming. No, he's just coming back too, but it doesn't matter. It was still said correctly. I think you should buy Meta or something else, but you don't know what you're doing in gaming. I think you shouldn't do this. He was heavily involved in that. Because that's what they think. Microsoft just monopolizes in general. Has nothing to do with Phil Spencer when it comes to that. Obviously, he was involved in certain things, and that was still a dumb move in totality for all of them. Joseph says this was pretty obvious. Sarah has said that she had transition activities with Asher only weeks, not months, not a quarter, not a year, mere weeks. Most likely less than a month. So this guy says, I think Phil as a dude, I like Phil as a dude, but he did a terrible job running Xbox. It's not even that, dude. It's that Microsoft was always involved and he got handed an impossible job. Yeah, he obviously made some mistakes. There's some things he didn't know about too, but I'm telling you right now, when it comes to the Xbox world, don't think of PlayStation, Nintendo. If you put any of those other people in those positions, it's not going to be much better than you would think. Trust me. He did what he could. People wouldn't have came up with some of those ideas like Game Pass. And them staying exclusive, they still would have failed. Just didn't have the brand power. It was not working. So, and I get what people are saying, like they should have made some of those games. Like, yeah, they probably could have done that, but just in general, where things were going after the Xbox One, it was pretty rough. If you weren't going to get your sales you needed in the Xbox One era, which actually sold up to 57, 58 million, look at the Series era right now at like barely 30 million, if it even got there, right? It's not selling nothing. Like, it didn't really matter. It was just in a downslope, and it was a crazy train. He says if it was planned, Sarah Bond wouldn't have quit right away. Well, there's transitions they're talking about. Yeah, I mean, you have to add up the two together. And regardless, if he was leaving, I'm telling you, she's not going to want to be in that position. Because Satya would have just ran the show anyways, and they know that, and it's not going to work. So, yeah, we get this idea here, don't we, guys, that Phil Spencer was kind of forced to retire. Firing, it's a possibility, but he was forced to retire out of nowhere early. I think that Satya and him had a solid enough relationship. Now, Sarah Bond, she was pretty much fired. That pretty much can be seen. Differently than Phil Spencer, because it's not like she's his age. You get what I mean? And it's not what Phil Spencer wanted as a transition. It's what Satya wanted immediately. And I think if you go back to certain videos, he watches them like what Laura said with that certain leadership video. He probably takes that type of stuff a certain way, but he needs to realize some of the mistakes he's made too. I mean, look at Windows 11 and look at what was going on also with some of the deals he made since he came into the gaming industry and then wanted to just exit out and change positions. I think in general, he doesn't really like it and he wants to eventually get rid of it one day. So Microsoft could just focus on being fully Microsoft. And if not, have only elite parts around. They're just making money to feed what he wants to feed. But at the end of the day, it's going to be still more Copilot and more AI push with the magnets. And they're going to enforce that. And I just don't like the route that it's going because it's pretty much done as a console and it's pretty much now an optional overpriced OEM PC to a gamer's mindset. Like if you have a PC build that's on the market like that and it matches others, but it's a little bit cheaper, a PC gamer could possibly see that. But a lot of them want Linux options. A lot of them might have went to Mac. You know what I mean? Where it's like, no, you guys are just forcing me still to do that with full blown AI and all that other stuff. So I think with that being an optional option, they're not going to care because they already have the rigs that they want and they can do that at any time. You're not coming in to have something dedicated. No, it's an extension of what already exists and you're going to beg for Steam. You see what I mean? And this is not trying to shoot down anything Xbox because that's what they're doing. This is more like telling you the direction that you're being forced into. It would have been better to keep it as a console and try different aspects and a price point, but they're not going to do that. So that's the route that they're going. That's where everyone is accepted. I want you guys to let me know what you think about this. We see the comments down here. Everybody knew this. He retired instead of getting fired. No. 3 days notice, yeah, he got fired, but had the chance to retire so he could get his golden parachute. Greg Miller and co are trash, and I highly doubt he knows anything about this. That's pretty funny. I don't think he's going to make that up. I think we can all see that if you go and take a look at anyone retiring, like I said, you don't have only 3 days. It doesn't work that way. Historically, nobody does this. Think about it. Go look at all the people that are retired historically and see. Let me know what you guys think. As once again, like, comment, subscribe. Peace out. Have a great day.